Okay, Vayigash of Yehuda. This literally, Yehuda approached Yosef. At the Zohar Kodesh says was besides smichas gula letfila, the meaning of Yehuda and Yosef. Yeah, and to understand this a little bit, these were the recurrent players ever since Parshas Vayeshev, Yehuda and Yosef. It was Yehuda's Eitzah, first of all, to sell Yosef. The others, they wanted to kill him. Shimon and Levi wanted to kill him, and Yehuda gave the Eitzah to sell him. And of course, it was all downhill from there. That literally, Vayered Yehuda me'al echav, they haridu migdu lasai, and he had to live separately from them for a while. And you had the whole story with Oinan and Tamar, which is like these are the two stories that fill Parshas Vayeshev, and it's very interesting how the Torah interspersed them. Yosef is sold, right, and then Yehuda Ve'erd Me'esechav, and he has the whole, and it's like a story that spanned probably decades, right? The whole thing up to Tamar and Tzadka Mimeni, and then it goes back to Yosef Hurad Mitzrayim. It was mafsik the whole inyan of Mechiras Yosef. Break to the whole story of Yehuda, and then back to Mechiras Yosef, as if they're wrapped in with each other, and the one who takes the lead as far as negotiating with Yosef is Yehuda. Right, Ruvain tried, he tried to reason with Yaakov Avinu, Shnei Bonai Tamas. Yehuda is the one that takes charge, and so it's Yehuda and it's Yosef, but there's also the third one. That's the key player already for two parshas, Binyamin. This inyan that Yosef is mitakesh, bring Binyamin. I don't want to speak to you guys. I don't want to see you ever again unless you bring Binyamin. What's the pshat? Right. The whole thing is over Binyamin. So Bishlama, that Yehuda now, like he says, is Anochi Arve, Ki Abdechal Raves Anar. I'm in Orev.
I want to see if they're doing tshuva. If they did tshuva, Binyamin was his brother after all.
Yes,
he was the last remaining son of Rachel.
I mean, he's also, now Bishlama, Yehuda took Arva's son Binyamin because otherwise Yaakov was going to let him go. But what's Yosef's thing? What's Yosef's game? He's got to have Achichem Akaton, right? And the real, the story, of how Yosef now reveals himself to his brothers is that he's very touched about how Yehuda's going to be Meiser Nefesh for Binyamin, and that's what brings him in.
What bothers me? The Mitzvah knew he was an Ivri because they didn't let him eat with them,
right?
So that must have been known. There must have been a code that he was an Ivri. So if they knew he was an Ivri, how many Ivrim were there? One family.
No, they knew it was Ivri.
They didn't suspect him.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of Shotman, they say they did suspect. They did suspect because a lot of Perushim, there's the whole negotiations going on as if they did know who he was. But, all right. That's all.
So it's interesting thing that these three Shvatim always go together. Yehuda, Yosef, and Binyamin.
Right, they ended up on the same, Binyamin together with Yehuda.
Right. Well, okay, so now, next time we find them, there's comma instances throughout our history, but we'll just name one that, B'tzeis Yisrael Mitzrayim, Beis Yaakov, Hoysa Yehuda L'Kocho, Yisrael Mam Shalosav, Hayam Ra Vayonos. Hoysa Yehuda L'Kocho, so Yehuda, Nachshon ben Narav jumped in first. But they were jumping ahead. They ran ahead of Yisrael Mam Shalosav. Chazal darshed on Shevet Binyamin. There's a competition who would jump in first. Hayom Ra'a Vayonos Ma Ra'a Hayom V'Nasos Aronos Yosef. There's one Shneimar Vayonas Achutza. So he was Vayonas Achutza by Eshes Potifar. So it's like Hayom Ra'a Vayonos. So by Kriyas Yamsuf, you have these three again. On behalf of all Klal Yisrael. The truth is, when we we look back at what Rashi tells us already in Kamadumani, it's already in Parshas Vayishlach, right, when Dinah got raped in Shechem. So Rashi brings a chazal that Shechem is a makom muchan lePuranius, right? That's where Dinah was raped, and we spoke about that. We had a shir on that, and there, Yosef was sold. What? Yeah. So
more mikvah in Shechem because the more right Shechem.
Right. Yeah. Okay. But Seder. But the correct. But the right. But Lagabe, what Rashi says, what the Chazal point out, that the in Shechem Yosef was sold, and in Shechem Nechlaka Malchus.
The 10 Shvatim.
Now, interesting. Nechlaka Malchus was the same. So who sold you? Who was the ringleader of selling Yosef? That was Yehuda. Now, when Nechlaka Malchus, that was between who and who? That was between Rechavam, who was from Yehuda, Rechavam, a grandson of David HaMelech, and Yeravam ben Nevat, who was from Shevet Yosef. It's the same players, and that's where it splits, right? But there's something interesting that there's a special tension in that split that caused the split to become Rahman al-Tzlan, almost a permanent rift in Am Yisrael, is that Yeravam ben Nevat blocked Aliyah L'Regel. And to block Aliyah L'Regel, he also had to, make an alternate religion. So he made, Iglei Zahav. And what was that all about? Because he didn't want that Am Yisrael will come and see Rechavam sitting in the Azorah and he's standing, because Gamrinan en Yeshiva ba'Azorah l'Malchei Beis David Bilvad. Right? So the Beis Hamikdash was a sore point. The Beis Hamikdash was a real sore point. Rechavam will be sitting and I'll be standing. Right? The Beis Hamikdash is in the Chelek of Binyamin. There's a certain tension. And it's very interesting that Binyamin stuck, even though Binyamin is from also Bnei Banei Shel Rachel, he stuck with Yehuda in the split. That perhaps we could see in a precursor is that Yehuda took Arvus, Anochi Arvemi Devakshenu, and that accomplished something. That in the and subsequently when there was a split in Am Yisrael, Binyamin stayed with Yehuda, and these are the two Shvatim that we have left, aside from Shevet Levi, is Yehuda and Binyamin. Kayadua, it's written in Kisvei Ari that Nusach Sfarad is the Sheiris of Nusach Yehuda, and Nusach Ashkenaz is the Sheiris of Nusach Binyamin. Right? Really, every Shevet had its own Nusach HaTfilah, so Ashkenaz and Sfarad is Yehuda, Nusach Yehuda, and Nusach Binyamin.
Far back.
Yeah.
Interesting. So.
Yeah, but every Shevet had its own.
Levi didn't have it.
Yeah.
Shira.
That's why. So that's also what's brought down. Kisvei Ari, that or the Indian of Nusach Ari is that if you don't know what Shevet you're from, so it's a Nusach connected the 13th Shar. There's 13 Sharim to go into the Beis HaMikdash. Hit a 13th Shar, any Shevet could go in. That's in of Nusach Ari, that if you don't know what Shevet you're from, you don't know which is the real Nusach HaTfil, if you're Shorsh HaNeshama. All right, so this, Nusach Ari, anyone could daven. That's the Indian behind it. But I'll call part of the Anam B'didan, that Shevet Binyamin sticks with Yehuda. Right, it's hello Dover. We'll talk about this in a second. To go deeper, but let's talk about these two. Let's talk about the two big players, Yehuda and Yosef. That there's a lashon that repeats itself over and over in this week's parsha, right? In the midrashim, in common compound, midrashim said because you see the shvatim they sit quiet, and Yehuda talks and Yosef talks and there's like a lashon in the marriage that the Shvat was saying, "Melachim medainim ze im ze anu ma'ich lanu." This is out of our league. It's like none of our concern. These are two kings taking issue with each other. Two kings, and these are Lasid Lavo b'meira b'yameinu. There's Mashiach ben Yosef and there's Mashiach ben David. We have two kings.
gave him that.
Yeah, that's chashivas that they
They
understood.
gave it to him, even though they Yared me.
Yeah. No,
He was Yared over here. Also, they gave
he
him
got
the
he
platform.
got reinstated. You see, that's very interesting. And it's Ken Zion that his reinstatement also comes with his Arva son Binyamin. Just like Yosef also rejoins Am Yisrael through the struggle over Binyamin. We're going to explain this, right? But let's just take a look first at these two Shvatim, Yehuda and Yosef, right? These two manhigim. I see two different hanhagas that there are in Klal Yisrael. Two different two Mashiachim. There's two hanhagas. Malachim, Lashon, manhigim. There's two hanhagas in Knesset Yisrael. Right? And it's something which one could see from the very stories of Yehuda and Yosef that are intertwined in that very same Parshas Vayigash. You take a look, that they're opposites. Right? Yehuda and Yosef. Right?
The stronger one, one second, I just want to point out to you. There's a number one guy and a number two. Yosef
Right.
was always number two.
Always number two. And you know what's so ironic about that? Always number two, but he's the one who's matzliach.
He was matzlich and everything, but he
Right.
never achieved. He was always the vice president.
Unbelievable. I was going to point out. Unbelievable. You chop the whole shir. Right? Now, on one hand, Yosef is the mutzlach. If he's in Beit Potiphar, he's matzliach. Right? And if he's in the Beit Asar, he's matzliach. And if he's in Beit Paro, he's matzliach. And he's makadosh Shem Shemaim. And matzliach not just in what he does, but also, matzliach in ruchnius. Omed ben Nisayan. Omed ben Nisayan. Omed ben Nisayan with Eishes Potiphar. But and with all his hatzlacha, still just number two. Potiphar, chasach b'beni mu'umak yimat batar bashat ishto. There's always say that he's the big boss because he has you and not and then he has to take that. In the Beit Asar, he's running the whole place, but he's not the Sar Beit Asar, right? And Paro, right? Rak hakise ekdam, he's doing nothing. He's just Yosef ala kise, but still he's the king, and Yosef's not, right? And Yehuda.
It continues down in history.
Exactly. That's right. That's the problem, and that's what Yosef has to face. That's his big challenge. And Yerovam ben Nevat had to face that. HaKadosh offered him to come back. Chazor b'cha. He was mamish the head of the Sanhedrin. Him and Achia Shiloni, were the biggest Talmidei Chacham of the door, right? And HaKadosh Baruch Hu offered Yerovam ben Nevat to come back, but he asked me barosh. He said ben Yishai barosh lo beina, right? He just can't take it. We understand the frustration because he's the mutzlach. He does all the work, and kayadua, he's connected the shore. Rov tzvus bekoach shore. The shore is a domestic animal that makes and does and produces. It's oichel v'oisa, right? Oichel v'oisa. Yehuda, right? He's not matzliach, right? But even when he's wrong, he's right. Tzadka mimeni.
Oh my God, that's a line in OAN. You never saw OAN? Ledger? Even when I'm wrong, I'm right?
No, sorry. Not
You know
Bakan.
what Ledger is?
I know what Ledger is. Sorry.
Okay, I'm sorry. He's a conservative newscaster. And that's his byline. That's
Right.
how he ends his show all the time. Because it's a conservative show. He's on the right.
Oh,
So even when I'm wrong, I'm right.
I got it. I hear it. Conservatives, yeah, it's fine. Well, we'll put in a plug for Ted Cruz at the end of this year, but the kids are right. But even when he's wrong, tzadka, I was wrong, she's right, but mimeni, it all came from me, and the Basco is Omer. Some say HaKadosh said mimeni.
It's like right and wrong is a matter of perspective. If he was meant to be Maida, and he's Maida or something, then he's where he's
No, but that's good for what he does.
He's Maida,
That's
he
all
does.
he does. That's all he does. Maida, just like his mother Leah said, "Apam Odes Hashem," right? And that's what one of the pshatim they say, "Yehuda ata yoducha achecha." You're the one who was Maida, and that's what makes you chashiv. He's Maida, right? He doesn't do right, but he's Maida ala emes, right? And he's mevatel himself, right, to the hashgacha. Right? He's not, And that's what he does. He's a pawn. He's a pawn of the Hashgacha. Yosef, is a take charge type of guy and is matzliach. Yehuda is not a take charge type of guy, seemingly, right? But
he's a leader, clearly a leader.
Right.
Because he was the leader of the brothers to begin with. He was the only one who had the power to be able to say sell him instead of killing.
Yeah, but it's a different type of leadership.
It's like 90% he's wrong, but the 10% we need him, he's there.
Oh, there's something about him, but it's not what he does. But that's also, he's connected the Aryeh, right? Yosef's connected the shore, who's the Melech Sheba Behemos, and Yehuda's connected the Ari, which is Melech Sheba Chayos. A Chaya is not. You don't harness a lion. You don't harness a lion. You harness a shore. The shore, rov tuas bekoach. Shore. You don't harness a lion. It just is. It's just.
The lion has
just
nature.
is.
He's sitting around lazy, but when he gets up that 10%, he gets very tired very fast. But when he comes out, he goes.
Every animal is better than the lion.
Because when he gets up, when he's
There's no
up,
lion. There's no animal that's not better than the lion. Lion is the king of the beast.
he's relaxing, but that when he excels, he gets tired very fast. When he excels, he's the most powerful. He could, like a laser beam, he jumps up. He's the lion's matkif. No, he's the strongest, but most of the time he's lazy and he loses. Look at the ox. The ox is longer, consistent.
You're right, because it's the female lion that does all the hunting. But he protects the pride. That's his job. He is the defender of his pride.
Right.
We know all about it because we're Channel 13. Okay.
All right. No, it's an amazing thing. He just is king, not because of what he does. Just is, and that's and this just is the power that his just is which is his just is being bottled to the hashgacha, a pawn of the hashgacha, and that's his total state of being. There's a state of being, but it's a state of being of his batlus. But it's a state of being of his batlus. So the klape chutz he's doing wrong, klape chutz, but klape pnim, he is always mechaven to ratzon Hashem, echshu, right? But that's klape pnim. Klape chutz is maisim or not, as honorable as the maisim of Yosef.
He never had before that. When he was the king.
He fell in with Tamar, but it turned out that he created the whole malukah from that. And it was a mistake altogether.
He didn't have time that he was riding high? Wasn't before the brothers? No,
so there's like something very, very interesting about it, that his galus is in a state of being, that the Hashgacha uses him as a pawn. It's not his accomplishment, but because of his batlus, the Hashgacha uses him. So even though Klape Chutz he failed, but Hashgacha is using him.
So David HaMelech also failed twice. Twice he failed. Twice.
Well, one was in. One was with.
One was Bathsheba.
Right.
And the other one, I forgot what the other one is. I always forget. But the Gemara says Stein Balsaloi and Shol Ba'achas V'lo Saloi.
Yeah, that's correct.
I can't ever remember the second thing that David HaMelech fell in. One other thing.
Right. So Am Yisrael, when we're taken by HaKadosh Baruch Hu, right, to be his Am by Matan Torah, says, "V'isem li zgula mikol ha'amim, kili kol haaretz, v'atem tili mamleches kohanim v'goy kadosh." There's zgula, and then there's mamleches kohanim v'goy kadosh. Right, so mamleches kohanim v'goy kadosh means avoda. You're gonna serve me. You're gonna work for me. Right, and of course, nichla on that goy kadosh avada. That's all steigim. Right. But there's visibly skula. I'm going to just treasure you. Kili kol haaretz, right? But from the whole world, I choose you. So like the word skula, like it's just treasured, stam treasured. So where we find the term skula, in halacha, like in Hilchos Shabbos, yotze b'skula. So just skula. It works. We don't know why it works. We don't know why. Yeah, that's what's called a skula. So, we just see so we don't know why. It's not mamish dark hair or food. That we just don't know why it works. It works for no reason, right? That HaKadosh Baruch Hu was just treasures Am Yisrael because he treasures Am Yisrael. Just the skula. And then there's how Am Yisrael are oivdim lefanav. We serve him. Right? There's two different relationships that we have with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Stam treasured, and then there's how we work for him. Right? And that's also that, Yisrael, afal pishachata Yisrael hu. Right? Stam, even afal pishachata Yisrael hu. Right? That's, and that's the real ikr koach of why tshuva works, because even chet is a failure in Maisa, right? But your Jewish state of being is never violated. That's what it means. Yisrael pishachata Yisrael. Your Jewish state of being, the zgula, is never violated, right? Just the way to connect with the zgula is just to be moida. You're Yehudi, to be moida. That the hashgacha is everything, and I'm just a pawn, right? So even if you're not accomplishing so much, but it's just this mahut, and like I said, the chabrut to the mahut, just say Yehudiani, and whatever HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants, that's what's done. So you just his batlus to the hashgacha. That's a state of being, right? That you're makir, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is manig everything, and whatever happens, whether I did right or whether I did wrong, Ratzon Hashem was always done because he's in total control. Right? And HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants both. He wants us obviously to do the most that we can do, right? To steig, and to accomplish, and that shouldn't be Nahama Kisufa, right? But we're not supposed to think for a second that that the Rebbe Shalom now is indebted to us, Ki'ilu, right? Because as much as we steig and as much as we could, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is the good that He gives us is far more than whatever we could earn, and the plans that He has for us are far bigger than what we could be masig, right? That ultimately the spitz of it after you do whatever you can do is to be mevatel yourself to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to understand that Melo Kol Haaretz Kvodo, and V'hu Be'echad Mi Yeshivenu, right? And that's to connect to the infinite, because if you're outside Veda and you want Mida connected Mida, you understand you're in quantities. See if they're big quantities. Mida connected Mida. I do, you give. I do, you give. Mida connected Mida, Avoda and Schar. To get into like the musik of Ein Sof, right? There's no earning Ein Sof. Everything you do is bamida. How long? How much have you done? How long do you live? There's no our kesher to the Rebbe Shalom's infinity, right? Is just pure state of being, the pure hisbatlus that he's the melech and we're just pawns of the hashgacha. That's our kesher, right? So and that's the that's the ikra mida of malchus. The ikra mida of malchus lesla migar maklum. Zohar says the midah of Malchus is total. Feels it has nothing of its own. Lesla migarma klum. Feels like, I'm nothing. HaKadosh Baruch Hu's everything. I'm nothing, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu's everything. And that's the ikar avodah of tefillah. The ikar avodah of tefillah, and where tefillah is different than korbanos. Each one is its own mitzvah saseh. Right? By biblical law, right? Tefillah is one mitzvah saseh deraisa, fishitas Rambam, and of course all the mitzvahs of the korbanos, and the avodah that we do before Him, and all the mitzvahs ma'asiyas. It's another category, right? Because the avodah of tefillah is just to ask HaKadosh, just please give, only because I'm asking, not because I deserve, right? Right now, because b'avonoseinu rabim, there's no Beis Hamikdash and there's no korbanos. Right. So Chazal also made the tefillos to be a supplement for the karbonos. But Bizman Shebeis Mikdash Hayakayim, there was a separate mitzvah to be mispalo, even though you're doing Tmidim Kesidra Musafim Kilchasam, because the avoda of karbonos is we're giving. And Rebbe Shalom, gives mida connected mida. Kivyachol we makriv to him, and he gives back. Shefa connected what we're makriv, right? Avoda. That's all called avoda. Avoda sakorbanos, avoda. And then there's tefillah, which is the pure hisbatlus, right? To HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the ikar tefillah is me'oitzer matnaschinam, right? And, and that's the way the tzaddikim, you could try the tefillah of argumentation, right? But the ikar koach of tefillah, that's not begetter tinus, the ikar koach of tefillah is just to ask Baruch Shalom, just give because you want to give, right? I have nothing, fill me up. Right, as Lumat, when you do avoda, it's krip per quo. Do avoda, I want schar, right? And so here's the interesting thing about the Beis Hamikdash, right? The Beis Hamikdash has both aspects, right? So mechad gisa, it's the makom of avoda, right? And right, when you do the korbanos. Right, and that's that's chorev, Bavno Seino Rabim, right? But the Beis Hamikdash is also called the Beis Tefillah. Ki Beisi Beis Tefillah Yikare L'Chol Amim. Right. Now that from there the Gemara says, right, that even HaKadosh Baruch Hu is Kivyochel Mispalo, right? Shenemar v'Aviosim Haris nothing but Beis Tefillah, Beis Tefillah, never Beis Tefillah, right? Ki Beisi Beisoi Chol Amim and Shlomo Melech by the inauguration of the Beis Hamikdash said, and here anyone who davens here, the Tfish bin Iskabel, even the Goyim, he prays to himself. Even HaKadosh Baruch Hu is mispal. Ye rotzom ufnai shegu rachamai midosai ves the kind of symbolic of 3 mishras today. Right. Yeah. Right. I mean, the tefillah is just the pure rotzen. It's not. Pure us. That's what HaKadosh Baruch Hu the Maral explains. Just tefillah is miloshin, rotzen, just the pure rotzen, just not doing. It's just wanting, yearning. HaKadosh Baruch Hu yearns to, be mative. Right, so that's what it means. He's mispal also. The yehi rotzen. Right. May it be your will. Not that I deserve anything. And tefillah is also for the tefillah is just they're just
not praying to mankind that they should be worthy of his blessing.
The Pashas he prays to himself, meaning he's projecting a rotzen. He's projecting a rotzen to be made, so he's just mispal. It's just a pure. But rotzen, not ma'isa. It's a pure. So tefillah is a pure dveikus of state of being. Ribar Shalom, we want you, you want us, and it's not about krip per quo. The tefillah is not the pshat that he owes you because you asked. No, it's not the pshat. You're asking. You're asking for the sake of asking. And
krip per quo is bribery. It's not good.
So krip per quo, I thought it was mida connected mida.
Bribery.
Yeah.
It's a form of bribery, I think.
That's what they use the term bribery to as quid pro quo.
Yeah, I thought it means mida connected mida. Yeah.
Silver.
Right. So, but the Beis Hamikdash, going back to the point, it's also called the Beis Tefillah. And Shol Melech by the inauguration of Daven, even the Nochri who davens here, anyone Vata Tishma min Hashemayim.
Yaakov Avinu when he said that if you take care of me and you watch me, I'll give 10% to tzedakah. So that was good pro quo. Bribing HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Yeah. So there's avodah and there's tefillah. And the Beis Hamikdash is both. It's a makam avodah and it's a Beis tefillah. Right. It serves both functions. So that's Kabbalah biyadenu. It's in the Svarim. Even biyamenu. All the tefillahs gathered at Eretz Yisrael and they go up from Harabayis to Shemaim. It's Zeh Shara Shemaim. It's a makam of avodah. It's a makam of tefillah. There's both aspects to the Beis Hamikdash. Right. Right. Yeah. And there's a special kesher, right? That the Malachim, Malchi Beis David, they're the ones who wanted to build the Beis Hamikdash so badly, right? They wanted to build the Beis. David Melech wanted to. He wasn't Zeicha. Shlomo Melech built it, and the Rambam Paskins, V'Lasan Melech HaMashiach's going to build the Beis Hamikdash Hashlishi, Right? It's a special kesher between, David Melch says, I'm sitting with Beis Rosa, HaKadosh Baruch Hu not. Right? Because, they're the real Midas HaMalchus, and real Midas HaMalchus is his batlus, right? And they just feel the Shechina, because they don't feel any sense of zich. Their state of being is to be always connected to the Shechina. So even when they're wrong, they're right, they're just always connected, and they always feel Tzara Shechina, because lesle migar me klum, right? They don't feel any of their own zich, any of their own mahut, right? That's what David Melch says, va'ani tefillah. Va'ani, right? The whole essence is tefillah. And that's all. And the ikr tefillah is just out of pure zbas, not because you deserve, not because you did, right? Ribosh will give because you want to give, because you want to give anyone who asks. All you want from me is to feel empty. Einecho elecha yisaberu. All you just want from us is to turn to you, realizing that we're empty and we don't have it, then you give. That's how tefillah works. Not because you gave the Ribosh of anything. That's the koch tefillah. It's his batlus, and realizing that we're empty without him. Right, and that feeling of emptiness makes a person ro'oi for ashras hashchina. That the shame shamayim is chal on him. So we spoke in our shir on Parshas Vayishlach that Shechem from the Ari. Shechem is Shem Kvoid Malchuso, and it's the Shem is Pnimius and Kavod Malchus Chitzonius. Shechem is where that's like the rift, where the seam between the Pnimius and the Chitzonius. We spoke about, but that's also the base image called Makom Asher Askir Eshmi Avolech Berachticha Hamakom Asher Yivcha Hashem Lekshakein Shmoi Sham. The shame, dwells in the Beis HaMikdash, and the etzem shame dwells, where you make room for it, and that's the meat of Malchus, right? The meat of Malchus based of it, right? And that's their koach, right? But there's also the koach of avoda, and here's the interesting duality that by the story of Rus. They're all from Shevet Yehuda, Boaz, So the Ziknei Yehuda was the Sanhedrin of Shevet Yehuda. And they say this woman could be Kirachel ve'Kalea. So Chazal point this out. These are a bunch of Bnei Yehuda saying Rachel ve'Leah, afilu b'nei shalea moidim sherachel akeres habayis. Right? That the Inyan is Avada, we're not supposed to put the emphasis on the Zgula, even though we have the Zgula, that we're tied to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, lamala from any siba, just a state of being. We're not supposed to depend on that. We came to Olam Hazeh to work, right? We came here to do. And that's the side that Yaakov loved Rachel and not Leah, because Rachel is Keneged Avodah. So that's Yosef, and that's Binyamin, the Beis HaMikdash. Yosef is the Oved, the Tzaddik, right? He works hard and is matzliach, the kavish yitzro, right? And Binyamin is the Beis HaMikdash. And about the ikar of the Beis HaMikdash is to do avodah. We're not supposed to rely on the zgula. We're supposed to be oved, right? We came down here not to be. We came down here to work. In Shemaim, the Shema could also just be, right? We came down here to work. That's why Rachel's akeres habayis, the ikar of the bias, the ikar of the Beis HaMikdash, the ikar of the bias of Olam Hazeh. Right, because we came here to work, but still not in first place. Iker, but still not in first place. Still not the Melech. Still not the Melech. Akeres habayis, but still not the Melech. And that's kind of what's brought down in Kisvei Ari, that Rachel is Malchus, right? And Leah is Bina, comes of a higher place. And then from the Bnei Leah, connected the Zgula, which is just being tied above, right? And Rachel's connected Malchus, so we're Paine, right? The Tiferes is pointed towards the Malchus who wants to work. The Neshama came here to work, not to be, to work. So it's the Akeres habayis, right? Ikar of the bias, but still not the Melech. It's a Hanhaga. It's a Hanhaga. It's a certain Malchus in its own right, but it's not the Spitz. Because after all the Avodah, you got to come onto his battles. Because after everything you do, and everything you think you figured out, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is still bigger. And that, how he's bigger, he has a kesher to Am Yisrael with that also. Right? It's not like he keeps that to himself. How he's bigger is also Mekasher, his Ein Sofius with Am Yisrael. But that Kesher of Ein Sof is that the Chishav Machshavas, Niflo Sechel Machshavas, Chishav Machshavas, Val Yidach Mimeno Nidach, that he has a Kesher with us, but that's mitzad the Zgula, that he has that Kesher of that Omek and that Yakrus, that everything that ever happens to Am Yisrael is Ratzon Hashem. Everything. And even when we did wrong, Ratzon Hashem comes out of it, right? And Am Yisrael zocha to see it. That kesher, right? That kesher Am Yisrael is like the pawn of the hashgacha, right? That's the inyan of Malchus Yehuda, and that's the spitz that even after everything you do, right? It's still on top of that is these battles, right?
You see this in Rachel and Leah.
Yes.
I was about to ask it. And I was saying, but Rachel Lamaisa seems like she's number one. You see from number one, she gets number two. And Lamaisa, you see, even though she was number one, chosen as number one, but Lamaisa, she was number two. So you see how they're intertwined. Yaakov Avinu's Bechir was Rachel. Yes. Still she was number two. Leah got there first. And not only that, Leah had all the Shvatim. She only had, and this Gula goes to Leah. Yeah, you see, they're so intertwined one with another. The avodah of number one and number two is tied together. This guy has the avodah, the consistency of the avodah, not necessarily the up and the down like Yehuda had the roller coaster, his ups, his downs. He's one moment he's a melech, next moment he's a shva. It seems like he's on the bottom. And Yosef was kind of number two, but he's kind of consistent through. But yet, you see that number two, his whole avodah is tied in. They're intertwined one with another. Number two is to come back to the same Nakud that the Rav saying. He's coming back on the other side, flip side, that after he's done his avodah, he's still coming back to his battles.
The ikar of what we're doing here in Olam Hazeh is avodah, to do mitzvahs, right? That's the ikar of avodah. That's the akar sabais, but it's not the tachlis. It's not the seif. It's the ikar of what we're doing here. We came down, the neshama came down to guf to do mitzvahs, right? To do avodah, right? It's the ikar, but it's not the seif. It's the ikar, but it's not the tachlis. It's not the ikar of what life is all about, right? But the ikar, the kudas hasof, is his batlus, because no matter how much you do, right, what the Rebbe Shem has to offer and the kesher that he has with Amzo is even deeper than all you could ever possibly earn, right?
On the other hand, Yehuda was sent down to Goshen to open up the yeshivas and to set them all up.
Yeah,
he wasn't just a lady.
No, rather not.
This is what the Rav saying. It all boils down to Yesh Ma'an Eimai. That's exactly the Nakud. At the end of the day, if you have to put everything in Tam Tes HaMilim, Yesh Ma'an Eimai. The person has the Bechira to say, well, I don't want to be. I want to say Yesh. I want to say the Chas V'Sholom is beyond, beyond the Eibishter or not. Yeah. Now Avodah is to say that at the end of the day, it's all from the Eibishter.
All right. So on the one hand, so the Oivdim have to be makabel that as much as they steig, there's still, as much as you steig, there's still more. There's still more. And your kesher to the more is his batlus. Right? But midach gisa, the other ones, they can't, it's really the kasha of the Ben Rosha from the Agora. Ma avoda zos lachem. Right? What do you need? HaKadosh Baruch Hu fix, we have sgula. So no. Ilu hayasham lo nigal. Leave lo yasham lo nigal. That HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the madregas that there are, by the purest batlus, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu is everything, and I'm nothing. So wherever I am, the Shekhinah is with me, and whatever I do, it's a porn of the Ashgacha. You have no kesher to that if you're not interested in Avodah. So you understand, that everyone.
His batlus is to do what HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells you to do.
Right, obviously, right. Can't say, listen, So Agam, it's true, Gadol Aver Lishma, Yoser Mitzvah Shaloi Lishma, but fine, but anyone who's not interested in keeping halacha at all, he has no Shaychus to Aver Lishma either. That's the point, that, everyone, the people who are into Zgul have to realize that the ikr of what you're doing with your life is Avodah, but those, the Bali Avodah have to realize there's that there's the kesher of his batlus HaKadosh Baruch Hu, because Avodah only takes you so far. And that's all also Merumas in Yitzias Mitzrayim.
That's a good idea.
Uh-huh.
Cool.
What?
Who's it from?
My brother-in-law.
Uh-huh. Well, kids are. No, so it's also Merumas in Hilchos Pesach. Since Meruma is in Hilchos Pesach, we said where the avodah starts from. Boidek ad hechon shiyodo magas v'ashar mevatlo belibo. You go ad hechon shiyodo magas, but what's beyond it, mevatlo belibo. Right, right. Yeah, and that's the side of smichas gula l'tfila. Smichas gula l'tfila, right, is this inyan. Now going back to the Zohar in this week's parsha, Vayigash elov Yehuda is smichas gula tefillah. That you have to be masbich the tefillah to gula, right? That the inyan is that there even in geula there's a certain midah keneged midah, right, as it were, because even geulas Mitzrayim, that we were memtes shari tumah, and it was a big chesed from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, but afal pikein, right?
So it's so this and that.
Yeah, so those are items. So but also like this, it was Laman Saper Shmi B'chol Haaretz. HaKadosh Baruch Hu used us as the ball to show off in front of Paro and in front of the whole world. Right, in Geula, so we say, Aseh Laman Chaim Lo Lamanenu. Do it for your sake. The Rebbe Hashem gets covered from the Geula. And that's why, we're mishabechim with the gula, like Rashi says, we're mitzkarv through the shiros and tishbachas and tzias Mitzrayim, because it's mamash shiros and tishbachas to him. He got glory from it. So even if, like in that gula, which we didn't even earn, but afal pikein, right? Ilule Am Yisrael, there will be no kli to be megala shmo, to be mitpaer, keneged the umas ha'olam, right? As it were, Am Yisrael participated. Am Yisrael participated. HaKadosh Baruch Hu gets shevach and Yakar and Gedula from being Goyal Am Yisrael. So that's what we could actually daven for the Gula and say in Lo Lemanenu Lemancha, right? Lemani Esed. So the Shmuel girl should be Neschalo Bagoyim, right? There's impure batlus in Gula, and right. There isn't pure batlus because Am Yisrael goes out. We're partners in the Gilui of the Kiddush Shem Shemayim.
Wasn't that earned by Avraham Avinu?
What?
Wasn't that earned by Avraham Avinu? The fact that he was with Taka in 71. 71 Chalak and that other Rishon was Nishba, right? So Avraham Avinu was the first one with Matakin. So we left for 70. So that's where Bris Ben of Sarah, Avraham, he got the, what was it? He says, Ava Monamim. You're going to have the responsibility of all nations. He says, B'mai Dakir Shena. So don't worry, I'll send you down to Mitzrayim with Shaykhs. This is the cheftzes davar that you'll be a mantesh shari tumah, but they're coming out because of Avraham Avinu. Or is it they could do it through positive tikkun going down over?
I mean, whatever. There's a lot of things to say, but I'll call him. Geula is a shevach for HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Am Yisrael is partners in the gilui of the Geula, right? Through us, the Rosh Hashanah got shevach, and there's like, as it were, we participated also. Right? The meaning of lahasmich gula tefillah is that with all the shevach and yakar and gedul that you give him, you're now his batlus. Right? Right?
There's the avodah, then there's the batlus.
That's right. That's the sort of smichas. You have to hold the two together, the two avodas, not to be mafred between them. And that's when you're ovid as much as you can, but on top of the avodah and the shevach that you give, don't think you're getting because of all the shevach that you gave, with all how you mishabeh with the gula, you get because me'oitzer matnas chinam, right? Because you're empty and HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants to fill you up, and that's why you gave, not because but you have to do as much as you can, mekada shem shemayim. But then that's the end of smichas gula tefillah, to be ma'ached between the two avodas. There should be no pure between them, and that's the tefillah haritzuya, that you did as much as you can. You're mishabech in mafor, etc. But then you ask out of pure, please, Rebbe Hashem, give. It's time because we're turning to you. We're empty, turning to you. We're mocking, everything's from you, and you need the two together. Right, B'shleimus, just like the Beis Hamikdash, it was a Makam of Avoda and a Makam of Tefillah, and that's also the function of Mashiach ben Yosef, right? Is that he's the one who's going to do the milchamas. all the the big milchamas. I mean, again, if it's going to break up that way, as we've said that Mashiach ben David could come, we could skip Mashiach ben Yosef, Achakalo b'chol yom shel, Mashiach ben David come immediately, right? But the end of Mashiach ben Yosef will be the big battles against the goyim, right? The big battles. Right, but then the final stop is Mashiach ben David, right? That the tachlis is just his batlus, right?
Many a battle that David HaMelech that he was.
Of course, yeah. Listen, the two.
Goliath, to begin with Goliath, and then Plishtim, and
right.
He conquered the Yevusim.
Right.
I'm saying that these two midas give birth to an Abel, a Binyamin.
No, so now Binyamin is connected the etzem musug of Knesset Yisrael. That's the union of Sheva Binyamin. I get back to now the two. These are the two kings, but there's if there's one Sheva that's connected the Klal, that's connected Klal Yisrael, that's Sheva Binyamin. So lo mi bay that the base medrash is in his chelek, and there's a shita Yushlam lo nechle kol shvatim. So it's technically in chelek Binyamin, but still it's international. I mean it's interdominant. It's inter shvatim. It's inter shvatim. But he was the 12th Shevet. He was the capstone. After Leidas Binyamin, that's when Yaakov permanently gets the name Yisrael. Right? That's at that time, and you see that from Mo and Leidas Binyamin, you see the next few psukim just refer to him as Yisrael, Yisrael, Yisrael. That when Am Yisrael's b'shleimus and all there, he's called Yisrael. And all these until this week's parsha. He's called Yaakov the last few weeks until Vatechi Ruach Yaakov Yem, and then Vayomer Yisrael. When Am Yisrael's b'shleimus, all the shvatim are there, then he starts being called Yisrael again. But the one who gave the Chol Shem Yisrael was Binyamin. It's not just the 12th. Closes the circuit, right? He is the Sheva that's connected etzem Knesset Yisrael. Right, that's the koach of that shevet. That's why we said we quoted possibly by Chris Hansen. Yisrael mam shlosav is shevet binyamin. Term Yisrael goes on all klal Yisrael. Shevet binyamin is befrat keneged koach haklal. Koach haklal. Right, the koach haklal. Now the klal needs manhigim. Right, but he's connected to koach haklal. Right, that's also to understand that Lefi Shah, you could have a melech from Binyamin also. Shaul HaMelech was from Shevet Binyamin, right? And this, because Shaul, it was borrowed, right? It was on loan, because you could have a melech from Binyamin Lefi Shah, because Binyamin is connected etzem Knesset Yisrael. It's connected the cloud that the melech is manig, right? So from this Shevet you could have a melech Lefi Shah also. Because there's like the melech and there's the malchus. He's a malchus. So from the malchus there could arise a melech also, but only lefi shah until the real manhig comes to be manhig the cloud, right? Whoever controls the base of Mikdash ultimately controls Am Yisrael. Whoever is the base of Mikdash, right? And that's what Yerom couldn't take. That see the base is really be'etzem by him because he sits there. That's his makom. The Shem Shemaim Chal Olav because of these batlus, right? So Yerom said, so we have to make our own alternative to the Beis Hamikdash. Whoever controls the Beis Hamikdash, Betzim controls Am Yisrael, right? The koach of it. We'll just jump forward. The Nes of Purim was Lech Knoises Kol HaYehudim, Nikalu HaYehudim. Am Yisrael became a klal even within the goals. So who led that? The koach of klal, Knois. Esther and Mordechai were from Shevet Binyamin, but he's still called Mordechai Ha-Yehudi. Shekol HaKofer Ba'avzar Nikra Yehudi, because again, there's a permanent bond between Yehuda and Binyamin that was all precedented in Anochi Aravenu Mi'ali Tivakshenu. That's why I say it's Karav Adover Lomar that Yehuda got reinstated as a melech because of his Kesher Binyamin. But Yosef knows that also, right? And it's an amazing thing that I don't know, how many cheshbonos Yosef HaTzadik had, but he knows one thing: he can't find his way back to Am Yisrael without Binyamin. That which he said, bring Binyamin here, right? Vasima Eini Olav, because they sold him. They mamish sold him. They exchanged Yosef for Esrim Kesef for a set of shoes. They exchanged. They did a tmura. They sold him out. He was pushed out of Am Yisrael. That he's not. It's not just Stam out of he wants to get Binyamin down there. He's trying to find his way back into Knesset Yisrael.
Binyamin has that mid of his pashtus, because Torah in front of Acharov. So he has this pashtus. That's one of the basic things by him, because the shtachava.
Yeah.
Shtachava tzufim.
Very right.
That's why his bris mill by the goyim could come through Binyamin, Sheva Binyamin. All these things. I heard the shir from Rav Shur, I think. So you're saying this Nakuda exactly. Binyamin has that ability to bring a guy to make him a yid. He can make someone. He could bring someone from out. Yosef can't do. Yosef is connected. Bris mill for yid. He says
Binyamin is at some koach of Knesset Yisrael. Yosef can't find his way back in until Binyamin comes. And now Yosef demanding Binyamin bring Binyamin that's the way back in. Now, of course, he's going now. Olech al kol hakupa, as we say, he's going for everything. If he gets control of Binyamin, he gets the Malchus also. He gets the Ganza and Hok of Am Yisrael. Right, but he sees Yehuda's not letting go. Yehuda's not letting go. Right? But as it were, Yehuda was willing, to work for Yosef in exchange for Binyamin, and that's enough. That's enough. And that's the reconciliation that Yosef and Yehuda reconcile over Binyamin. That the pshat is that this is what undoes Mechiras Yosef, right? That by pushing Yosef out of Klal Yisrael, reconciling over Binyamin, that's getting back into Knesset Yisrael.
From one perspective, he failed again. Better than that, his tikkur. He wasn't successful at the end of the day. He wasn't successful. He didn't bring it back. He says he went up Vayigash of Yehuda. He came. He made the decision. He made the decision to go out to go up and fight to get Binyamin back. But that's not what ends up happening in the story. They don't go to war. He doesn't go have a fight and beat it. Dibel of Koshitz, right? But he didn't. That's not what happens. Again, Yosef ends up showing his face of who he is, and there's a different. Comes from Revach Batzol Makam Acher. But you see also Yosef stands up in front of Esav, to make sure Rachel doesn't have to stand up, but she's pregnant with Binyamin. Mm-hmm. So he has a koyach. Binyamin has a koyach to overcome Esav.
Yeah, of course, Vada. So that's But again, because Binyamin is connected etzem Knesset Yisrael. Etzem Knesset, that's the Makam HaMikdash. Knesset Yisrael, where all Am Yisrael's oil l'regel, all Am Yisrael's mitkanes over there. That's why I say, mikoch lech knosses koyodim, nikaloi Yehudim. That was mikoch that, the anhag of Mordechai and Ezra, Shei Binyamin, but still, kosher to Yehuda. Kosher to Mordechai ha-Yehudi. Kosher to Yehuda be'etzem. But the struggle over Binyamin is Yosef's ticket back into Knesset Yisrael. And it's over, the struggle over Binyamin, that's how he finds his way in. He couldn't just reveal himself and get back in.
That makes a lot more sense.
Right, it had to be over Binyamin, right, and over Binyamin he could make his way back in.
So it makes more sense now. The tikkun of the brothers, the whole thing sounds so funny before. And all these years I always heard of it, I never understood it.
But that's
makes a lot more sense.
So that's also they cried over the Churbanei Beis Hamikdash. Binyamin, he cried out Vayevkal Tzavrei Binyamin because the tikkun is not complete yet. That's what we read this week's Haftarah. Ephraim, we're still yearning for Ephraim lo yatzor Yehuda. Yehuda lo yotzor Ephraim, but that's because there's still this tension, aside from the Roshim of the Chet, there's still a tension between the Baalei Avodah and the Baalei Zgula. Right? There's two different Avodas. There's the guys who play by the rules and the goodies, and then the guys who live on the edge, confident that it's all Ratzon Hashem. Right. If that's where the Rebbe Shalom wants me, that's where I'm going to be. That's right.
He's on the edge. Goody.
Yeah. He's on. As I say. And that's it. And you know what? Yosef learned this. You know where Yosef learned this, right? He learned his lesson at least in the beginning phase. I'm not saying when he goes for Binyamin, he's going for the whole, going out holech al kol hakupa, as they say. But but where he learned that he may always be in second place was from the Sarah Ophim and the Sarah Mashkim. Right? It's an interesting, the Sarah Oifim, Lechem, right? Lechem. Rov Tvuas Bekoach Shor. Right? It makes grain. avoda, right? What was his chet? He didn't do his birurim well. He didn't, he didn't sift the flour well enough. And that's avoda, birurim. We do avoda b'mavara to tell from the ra, like we explained a few times. That's what mitzvahs ma'asiyos do.
Whose sin was that?
Sarofim. They didn't do birurim. Right? They found a tzror, found a rock, and and Yosef sees in the Sarofim him. Right? The Sarah Mashkim, that's wine. Nichnas yain, yotza soid. Right? State of being, the yain, is a soid, state of being. When you drink, you can't act, right? And you may bedam anovim suto, Baruch of Yehuda. But it's more, what's his chet? There was a fly in the cup. Fly in the cup. That's korov la'inus. No shmit. The sarofim is a paisheya. He didn't sift the flour well enough. The sarah mashkim is an inus, right? All the chatoim of Yehuda we look at as like onsim, mimeni, right? The chatoim of Yosef, whatever he does wrong, he pays for, and Yosef sees it, and he tells him, Sarah Oifim, you're going to hang. Sarah Mashkim, right? You're going to make it. He learned from that. The Meishloach said, he chapped. Yehuda is going to be the Meishloach. He chaps. Yehuda, the wine over the bread, right? The wine is ikr.
That's why we make kiddush on one and not the bread.
Yeah. I always say, I hold so one of my better vertlach that I said, Al Das Atzmi, it says by Yom Hu Letis Paro, so he goes, so this one he hangs, the other one he pardons. It was his birthday. He was 1 year older. Because what gets better with every year? Wine. What gets worse? Yeah. The whole Yom Hu Letis, so.
That's good.
Yeah. It was macharshit for a birthday of my father. Anyway. But that's the word. The wine versus the bread.
Where's
Right?
your father live?
Yeah, there's a Neuro show.
Where?
Neuro show. Yeah. But anyway, the point is that Yosef, the struggle over Binyamin is the struggle to get into Knesset Yisrael, and the bridge between them, is Binyamin, and the ultimate reconciliation. Was when the Bali Avoda and the Bali Azgula, the bread people and the wine people, right? The goody-goodies and the adventurers, right? All understand that they're all part of, one cloud. They all belong to the same cloud, and they're two different driving forces, right? In Knesset Yisrael. And that's all, and we have to pull them together and serve our Kodesh Baruch Hu with both koichos. Besod smichas gula tefillah, besod that Binyamin, who bridges the two of them, it's both a base avoda and a base tefillah. That's what we want to explain.
The key is they have to work together.